All right, guys, so here's the story. The last match, which we lost 2-0 in an embarrassing defeat to Taiwan Futuro, that last match, had we won, would have given us the league title. And so there's some questions about what need to be done. I've done a couple of things here offline as we've gone in between matches. The big thing that I've done is I have let a couple of players go for really, really poor performances and honestly for just getting on my nerves. We're going to keep Yan Yiming there on the left side as much as I hate his poor performances. We got rid of Wang Chunxian, who simply has not been playing well at all, and who was really upset with me when I told him that he played poorly. We did get rid of Xu Weijie, who has not been, he hasn't played at all, and who played horribly in his first time out there, and who really has not lived up at all to his potential. I know he's 19 years old, which is the problem. And who else did we get rid of here? Let's see here. Oh, yes, Gao Weijie, who had his first appearance this last time out, trying to play as a striker. He looked bad, 29 years old, and was probably the wrong player to sign. This puts us in a little bit of a lurch, and we'll see what happens in this transfer window. The problem that we have is that we don't have a whole bunch of young native like Taiwanese players who are good enough to be better than average at this level. And so there are some questions as to what we should do. Maybe we should take a chance on somebody who might not be extraordinarily skilled, say to play striker or to play left back. Maybe we'll just take a chance on these guys in the under 18s who I don't think are really that good. I don't know. We'll try to figure something or else out. Look at this. I'll go ahead and switch over here. Just as soon as I was going to talk about this, we have yet another guy who's upset because he's not playing. This guy, Chen Wei-ren. Has he played even one match? No, he's a surplus to requirements. He's 28 years old. So history, career stats. Oh, he's showed up in 2 matches here for us so far this season. We're not going to talk with him. We are just going to go ahead and release him here on a free. Now, the reason why I was actually sort of hesitant and pausing before starting this video is because I want to make sure that things are relatively calm in the clubhouse before doing what I'm about to do. What I'm about to do is I'm about to hold a team meeting, assuming that the game allows me to. They changed things in Football Manager 23 so that you can hold team meetings, but you still can't do it at any time. A good percentage of the time it will tell you that there's no suitable reason to hold a team meeting, even though like you're about to potentially clinch the league, or like some big thing is happening, or there's a lot of discontent in the clubhouse. I'm not certain exactly what the algorithm is and what tells you whether you can or cannot have a team meeting, but it becomes extraordinarily frustrating when you really, really want to hold a team meeting and you want to do something to try to get morale back up after like a really silly loss, and yet you can do nothing about it. We'll see what we end up doing. Before we do this, though, I want to make sure that all the players who are on the squad who are potential problems, who potentially are going to cause problems in the meeting, are just kicked off the squad, but especially guys who are like 28 and 29 who haven't played at all yet and who really are not going to get much of a chance to play in the future. We don't want to spend a whole bunch of time and effort trying to make them feel happy in our team meeting. Right? There's absolutely no point in doing that. I guess the question is, what's the best time to hold one of these in-game team meetings? The best time I think to hold it is right before something significant has happened, or also right after some sort of significant loss has taken place in hopes of saving morale. Here we go. I was going to say, as soon as the game finally lets me back up, I'll be able to show you the morale. It's going to take, I think, a second or two, though, to actually get to that point. It's interesting. So we don't have a vice captain anymore, which I think was a mistake on my part to give it to whoever it was I gave it to beforehand. We're going to have to go ahead and make a change in the vice captain world on the team here eventually. We have the transfer window coming up here very, very shortly. It's actually the day of our next match. I think it starts technically at midnight, so the day after, but we'll see exactly what happens. The transfer window opening up also makes a pretty big difference in exactly what to expect from the team and in team morale and stuff like that. But yeah, before we hold this meeting, I'll show you. We have good club atmosphere. We have good managerial support. Our team cohesion is still good despite the loss. We're down to 26 players on the first team since I have gotten rid of so many players recently. I was actually about to get rid of Wen Hao, and I still might do that because it's just been bad. And here we go with the team meeting. Let's see. Yeah, put it behind you, and there we go. This is the result that we've been looking for. So we want to see this. Every player is encouraged. We have Wen Hao, who is taking the role as a team leader. He's probably happy that I didn't get rid of him since he hasn't scored for like over like half a year. So we want to be positive and want to keep going with this. And this is the reaction that we want. There are times in the game where you won't get that reaction, even though you know that you said the best or the right thing. There are some people who so there are different theories like in how to do this. There's some people who will save the game right before holding the team meeting so that they can go back and redo it if they said the wrong thing, right? And you might think that that's cheating, and it kind of does count as cheating. I mean, it kind of counts as like I don't know, as yeah, we're gonna go with this guy. It kind of counts as sort of the same thing that save scumming would be, but there's a difference, right? So when you're playing the game itself, you kind of know like what you should and what you should not do. When it comes to team meetings, it's not always clear what you should and what you should not do. The differences between the choices that you're given are not clear. And so as a result, I mean, if the wrong thing happens, at least as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any sort of like moral reason to say, the team meeting already went this way, and so you can't go back and change that. That would be cheating or that would be bad or whatever. I honestly don't think so. Personally, I've never tested it out. I don't know if the responses by the team, relating to morale are like set in stone or not, right after your team meeting. My guess is that they probably are. I know that that's not the case for playing the game itself, but my experience with player morale issues in Football Manager tells me that a lot of that stuff is probably static and honestly has probably not received the amount of attention that other facets of the game have. One thing I'm really hoping for and kind of looking forward to in Football Manager 2025, remember next year's version is going to be the last one of this series with this engine, and then the 2025 version will have the new engine, which hopefully will be faster, so I'm not sitting here looking at this loading screen for half my life. My hope, though, with the FM 2025 is that Sports Interactive will also take advantage of the opportunity to create some sort of like better system for dealing with players and all their many problems and all the other stuff that happens. I mean, I think it's fine to have a morale system. I think it's actually a great idea. And for the most part, I think Football Manager does a good job, but a lot of it just feels so cardboard, right? No matter like where you're from, whether you can speak the language or not or whatever, if you're winning, everybody's happy. And if you're not winning, then people start getting grumpy and start having weird things happen, right? Everybody wants to play because everybody thinks that they're a star player, right? And there's all this other stuff that happens. It's really predictable. It's kind of, almost like hard-coded in the game, and once you've seen it so many times with so many different teams, it really loses its novelty, and you start feeling like, this, I mean, I don't know, it's like you could play this game blindfold, after a little while. So that's really, my biggest complaint about the process. A lot of people complain about things like individual players coming to you with problems and how difficult they are to solve and stuff. Look, the real problem in Football Manager is that the options that you're given when you have a team meeting or you're talking with an individual player or you're doing interviews with a new team or whatever it is, the problem that you're given is that your options are not clearly distinguished and different. Whoever wrote these really needs to have a better grasp. I hate to say this, but they need to have a better grasp on the nuances of the English language. They need to figure out a way to make it more clear, like the difference between one choice and the other. Same thing happens in press conferences, right? And if you do it the right way and not just me and choose the second from the left every time, if you actually look at the questions and answer, appropriately, at times you'll find yourself very, very frustrated because like totally bizarre things will take place, right? And you'll be like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? How come this was the wrong thing to say? It should have been the right thing to say, right? So anyway, I don't know what Football Manager, what Sports Interactive is going to do in the end to try to solve this problem. Hopefully they will do something. My hope is that they don't just do nothing, which is probably what is going to happen, right? My hope is that we do get some sort of change. Look, if you were playing an RPG like today and you had this kind of player interaction with NPCs, you would be really frustrated with it, right? I mean, this is pretty bad. This is, probably on the level of some of the NES RPGs that I've seen in the past where, interaction with players is not really designed to sort of advance the game. It's sort of like a placeholder in the game, right? That's the problem that I have with it. So anyway, there you go. But as far as like making the team meeting work and getting your players happy and stuff, there's a little bit of advice. honestly, you want to pay attention to the team talk at the end. If you have players who are saying things like "shut up, you old hag" or something like that, if you get that sort of stuff, those are players you want to like completely get rid of, right? And it will give you an idea of who the professional players are and who they are not. And when you have players who are not professional, then you say goodbye. I'm looking here at the game as I'm talking, and it has the fake Twitter posts from people who are saying bye to Gao Wenjie with thumbs up signs. So apparently my 100 or so invisible fans agree with my judgment in that situation. Anyway, there you have it. We'll talk with you again tomorrow, and we'll see if we can win the league then. Talk to you then. Bye.